Hello, welcome to the match reaction video here on Latte Firm. Arsenal have beaten Port Vale by 2-0 thanks to his first ever goal. Eberechi is finally off the mark, and Leo Trossard doing what he does best, coming off the bench, making an impact, and we go marching through to round 4, where we will play Brighton. More on the draw later. Welcome one and all to the show. Not the most enthralling of games tonight, got to be said. I was expecting us to wallop them. Wasn't quite as comfortable as maybe I'd have hoped. We'll talk about chance creation shortly as well. Welcome to the show. Get stuck into the chat. Thanks for tuning in. A warm welcome to our channel members, our Patreon members, and of course, Aidan and Matthew, courtesy of the Patreon group, went to the game tonight. Aidan, Matthew, hope you've had a fantastic evening. Really look forward to seeing your photos later. Let's go straight into the chat. Nathan opening by saying, Christian Norgard, player of the match, in my opinion. Eberechi, of course, winning the official player of the match, man of the match. But Christian Norgard, of course, completing his first 90 minutes. Fantastic. Louis says, I'm going to say it. I feel so bored watching this current Arsenal team, and it's not a personnel issue. Yeah, look, the chance creation is not great. I was expecting a really straightforward performance tonight, but it wasn't. Their performance is grabbing the headlines. Vig says, disappointed display, was hoping for a stat pad sesh. These players are allergic to shooting. Having 11 shots against a 19th place team in League One is really poor. The system needs to be tweaked. V Vlad, welcome to the show. Says, well, that was one of the games of all time. Good to see youngsters and fringe players get some team time. I'm not particularly bothered about the performance. A win is all that matters. Yeah, look, today is about three things. One, going through to the next round, winning the game. Two, about keeping players fresh, giving players who need the minutes, and coming away without any sort of injury. So managing the squad really well and just keeping players fresh, ready for Sunday. St. James's Park awaits. And three, yeah, I guess performance might have been the thing, but maybe individual performances will take the headlines. Dave, channel member and Patreon member, welcome to the show. Says, evening, Gooners. Says, I know there's going to be a lot of negativity over this game, but people seem to forget that first half of the season, teams tend to be a little disjointed. And listen, Port Vale have been really terrible in League One. This is without question the biggest game they will play at home all season, subject to any sort of miracles in the FA Cup. And they were right up for it. Packed crowd, biggest crowd in their history. Really would have been a very, very difficult game for Arsenal, but we've got through and I'm delighted. John says, I'll probably assess that performance after the weekend. Maybe the players were saving legs for the World Cup final this Sunday. Down would look special. Trossard, Martinelli are bench players. Come on, you Gunners. Yeah, big game at St. James's on Sunday. That is going to be a very, very tough match. Jeet, welcome. Says, can you imagine the backwards and sideways passing we're going to experience versus Newcastle? Hold that latte. Just hold that thought, my friend. Donald, welcome to the show. Title number 14, welcome to the show. FK isn't coming on. He fell asleep too. It wasn't the most mesmerizing performance. I must shout that. Not easy to watch. Good news, says FK, my man. Hello to you, my man. Mike Jones says it was pretty boring. Rob says a win and no injuries. That's all I cared about today. Exactly to the point that I've just said. North Bank Brent, Patreon member, welcome. Shout out to FK. Thank you. Shout out to you, my man. Good news says Marino is horrible. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. Rafael Kachinov, hello. Clean sheet, on to the next round. No injuries. Ezra's first goal, decent enough for me. Yeah, listen, I think that's the way to look at it. Got the job done. Not the best performance. Everyone stayed fit, into the next round and home to Brighton. That is where we are going to be in round 4. Right. Thank you for your messages. Keep the chat as active as you can. And let's go straight into the slide deck. And we're going to start with the lineup. So this courtesy of Sky Sports. We expected changes, I think, ladies and gents, boys and girls. We got 9 changes from the weekend game against Manchester City. And as you can see, Kepa coming into goal. Nothing really to report on him. I'm sure he would have been pleased to have kept a clean sheet, made his first sort of game appearance for Arsenal. Fantastic. That's what you kind of want to see. Let's zoom into my face here. Ben White coming in at right back. And you know what? In that first sort of half, it was really good to see Ben White in the final third. He's night and day with Jurriën Timber offensively. Jurriën Timber is a fantastic player. One of my favorite players, my player of the season last year, defensive warrior. But Ben White is really good in the final third. Not as quick as we know he's used to. Obviously, coming back from a couple of minor knocks. I think Good News has just said that White's pace is heartbreakingly non-existent. Look, he's not match sharp. He's not obviously quite 100%, but it's good to see him in action. Good to see him playing for Arsenal, and it's fantastic to see him in the lineup. Christian Mosquera, we knew would come in after being dropped for the Manchester City game. Saliba on Sunday in the match reaction video, we said that he looked like a player who hadn't played for 3 or 4 weeks. So he needed minutes. I'm surprised he finished the whole game. I wasn't expecting him to see out the match just because I thought maybe sort of 45 minutes to an hour. But of course, he did play. Did he finish the whole game? I want to say he did finish the whole game. And of course, he got a great assist for Leo Trossard, which we'll talk about. And Miles Lewis-Kelly, first appearance of the season. Ricky Calafiori's done a fine job. Miles Lewis-Kelly, another player, didn't quite look 100%. So look, really important already, we've established, for the likes of Ben White, for the likes of Kepa, Lewis-Kelly to get minutes in the legs and to play. That is important. You never know when players are going to go down. Players that are waiting in the wings have to be fresh, have to be sharp, have to be ready. In midfield, we expected Mikel Merino, although he did play sort of through the centre up top at number 9 for a long spell of that first half. Don't want to see Merino anywhere near the front line, but Mikel Arteta is going to Mikel Arteta, and that is what we're going to have to get used to, ladies and gents. And Christian Norgard, who said after the game it was a real privilege, a dream come true to make his Arsenal debut and to finish his first game, which was fantastic. A full 90 minutes in the tank and a decent performance. Can't really knock it. Professional job. Nothing really to sort of write home about or get too excited about, but these are the sorts of games where you want Christian Norgard to come in and take minutes out of Declan Rice's legs, takes minutes out of Zubimendi's legs, and just perform and get the job done. And I thought he did exactly that. Let's go back to the chat. Alex, welcome to the show. Training session complete. We're on to Newcastle. Massive match. I was going to say let's not be disrespectful to Port Vale, but I did say before the game that I think we're going to wallop them. Touche. Louis coming back to me on Saliba, great assist. What a lovely long ball into Trossard, who had a lot of work to do, to be fair. Fantastic touch, little takedown, and then a smash from just outside the box. Brilliant. Mike says, funny how it was Mosquera at the left centre-back for Saliba to be comfortable. Yeah, they switched, didn't they, after sort of 20 minutes. Saliba was left centre-back, went to right centre-back, and Mosquera, the other way around. Maybe to give them both experience in different positions. I don't know. Maybe to build that familiarity, because Mosquera, of course, has played with Gabriel Magalhaes over the last couple of days. DJ Ash, welcome to the show. Liked your appearance in the chat on Harry Symeou, who's watched along tonight. Harry does a great job. He does a fantastic job. The Chronicles of Aguna, I think, just closing in on 50,000 subs. He does these awesome watch-alongs. He is, of course, commentating on Arsenal.com these days and for BBC London. He's fantastic, but he missed Latte firm out. I will not forgive you, Harry. I will send you a text after tonight's show. But thank you so much, DJ Ash. Really appreciate it. Mikel does love Mikel, Jonathan. There's nothing more you can do. It does save minutes for Rice and Zubimendi. Raphael coming back on Christian Norgard. He's completely in agreement with me. This is interesting. Cameron says, gutted we didn't see the 11 set up like the graphic. This is courtesy of Sky Sports, of course, before the game. And then, like I say, Mikel Arteta, the lunatic that we all know and love, decided to play Merino at 9 and 2 sort of creative players behind in Wanyeri and Eza, and we'll come on to those guys shortly. This was interesting. Bukayo Saka was booed by Port Vale fans. I don't know why. Like, people, I tweeted it and it's been shared like a couple of thousand times, and people have come back to me to say, obviously Port Vale are going to boo your best player, and the penalty miss for England, blah 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 blah. But Bukayo Saka is one of the game's nice guys. Bukayo Saka does not deserve to be booed, and to be booed by supporters of Port Vale, League One, relegation fodder. I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. Saka, I can understand treatment like that at Spurs and at Chelsea and maybe one or two other big grounds. But Port Vale, really? Vlad, save your thoughts for Leo Trossard shortly. We're going to talk about him coming off the bench. And here he is. Here he is. The Chronicles of Aguna. Harry Symeou. Proof that I watched the excellent Latte film. Knew I'd forget someone. Need better mods on the questions. Harry, you are forgiven, my good man. Really enjoyed the watch along tonight. Do check it out. Chronicles of Aguna. Fantastic. And I love your work on the commentary as well. Let's continue the midfield. Ethan Wanyeri. What did you guys think of his performance? I thought he looked bright. Ethan Wanyeri is a bit of an enigma in that obviously cameo appearances towards the back end of last season, played out wide, playing the sort of central role for Martin Odegaard. Then, of course, had a long spell out of the team. Now he's back in the team and he's trying to sort of almost find his own identity. I love the way he receives the ball on the half turn. I love the way he's got that burst of acceleration, just wants to dribble aggressively towards the opposition goal. I love that. I think he just needs to get a run of games in the team, which is going to be difficult because competition is tough. We have a stacked squad, but I like what I saw. Let me know what you guys think. And another player who finished another 90 minutes, and it's a really useful 90 minutes for him in the squad. He looks a little bit stronger, a little bit leaner. Let me know if you would agree with that. Jonathan says, big up Harry, who is watching. Port Vale and not Millwall. like expected. Yeah, indeed. Manny says, I thought Ethan was a 5 out of 10. Really? Wow. Must have watched a different game to me. Donald says, Ethan needs a run of games. Yeah, just what I said. Burst of acceleration. Yeah, I think so. Every time he gets the ball, he just wants to run and run at pace. And that's what I mean. He's sort of explosive off the mark. I like him. And I think today there were some really good signs in Ethan's game. I think he just needs to forge out a position and a certain playing style. And of course, familiarity with players will come. But I like what I saw. I can't knock it. Can't knock it. As we go into the final three, and yes, many people are reminding me this was not the structure of the team. This is just the team sheet that Sky Sports had shared at the start of the game. Saka, that was a talking point before the game. There were lots of Arsenal fans who were like, "Oh my God, what is Mikel doing playing Bukayo Saka in a fixture like this? Does he not learn?" Look, the reality is, folks, Bukayo Saka played 45 minutes against City because that's all he probably had in the tank. Came on in the second half. Tonight, he had to get minutes before going into a full 90 at Newcastle. Noni Madueke is not in the squad. He's unfortunately, devastatingly out for now, sort of 6 to 8 weeks. Saka cannot just go to St James's and put on a full 90. He had to get 45. And I think Mikel Arteta said after the game that the plan was to give him up to 60 minutes, get the minutes in the legs. And he smiled and said Saka is absolutely fine and he will be ready for Newcastle on Sunday. So really important to use a squad and to use games like this to keep players fresh. Last year, when Saka was playing in the League Cup, it was different. He'd played, almost 2-3 years of football regularly, and we were thinking Arteta was playing him into the ground. But he's come back from a serious injury. He's come back from another knock. He needs to be managed. His load needs to be managed. And Mikel Arteta has done that, I think, really well tonight. Jonathan Kay, you and me both. When Saka was down, I feared the worst. And he sort of made that sort of wince on his face, didn't he? And he wasn't looking at the opposition player with too much happiness. We need him back to his best. He is our attack. Brian says the centre-backs needed reversing on the graphic. Yeah, we've just talked about that, how they sort of swapped 20 minutes in. Really interesting. But again, good to get 90 minutes into Saliba's legs. Gabby Martinelli, we thought he'd play up top. Didn't. Played on that left-hand side. Went back to his sort of not knowing how to dribble past his man. Listen, came on Sunday and did a fantastic moment for Arsenal in rescuing that draw against City. I really wanted him to have a good game tonight. I really wanted him to sort of, take the game by the scruff of the neck and create and to be a real danger. But the team didn't quite get going and he didn't quite going. And Eberechi, who we'll come on to in just a moment, scored his first goal and got the Man of the Match award. Look at the bench. David Raya in goal. Gabriel, who came on as a substitute for Ben White with about 20 minutes to play. Jurien Timber, who was unused, thankfully. Very, very pleased with that. I know he's travelled with the squad, but we need to manage his load. He'll go straight back in the team, I think, on Sunday for Newcastle. Victor Gyökeres, who came on with 20 minutes to play. Again, team not really creating much for him. We'll come on to stats in just a second. Leo Trossard, devastatingly good off the bench. Absolutely insane. There's probably no better player in the league off the bench, and he's fantastic. Ricky Calafiori getting a complete rest. Very, very pleased to see that. Zubimendi getting a rest. Rice coming on for 10 minutes? I mean, there was no need for that. But again, I guess Arteta's argument will be that it just kind of keeps him ticking along. And Max Dowman got a good half an hour coming on for Bukayo Saka. Again, good moments. Nothing really to write home about. But like I say, the team, not really the best of performances tonight. BX Gunner, welcome to the show. Says Saka looks hurt tonight. He looked haggard and slightly injured. Well, look, Mikel Arteta has confirmed, and I watched that the post-match interview. He smiled and said Saka is fine and he is going to be in the team for Sunday. North Bank Brent says Gabby's got to play down the middle. I'd like to see that. He's got all the assets. If you play him onto the ball, into space, running off the shoulder of the defender and running in behind, and he plays with his instinct, he's a decent finisher. He really is. Anajit says, don't think anyone got above second gear. The single objective was to keep the ball, control the game. Yeah, listen, scoring early was really important. We needed to score early and we needed to kind of just settle the crowd down as a record crowd, a big game, as we talked about. Just get through it. Be professional. And if the chances come and if the goals come, fantastic. But unfortunately, it wasn't really that easy. But I would say that we didn't really get out of second gear. What else is there in the chat? Keep your chat coming. Mohammed, welcome, who's just said evening. Good evening to you, my friend. Let's move on to the match stats. And this is where it was a little bit disappointing for me. Obviously, we 2-0 winners. Can't complain with that. That is the first objective ticked. The match stats. Courtesy of the brilliant Scott Willis, who does this after every game, as you guys can see on screen. Crab stats, Cannon stats. 0-2, the score. Fantastic. But look at the expected goals, 0.9. We are outperforming XG quite considerably this season. We're not creating too many big chances. We're not creating too many chances from open play. That I think has been well documented in the Premier League. Bilbao wasn't swashbuckling either, and of course tonight wasn't the attacking sort of threat that I wanted Arsenal to deliver. We did have 11 shots on goal. We did have 4 shots on target. We had 10 shots from open play. Possession wise, I mean, there was a stat, I think 20 minutes in, half an hour in, where we had 211 passes to 21 of Port Vale. In the end, we finished up at 801 passes compared to 193, more than 4 times. Battered them on the field till final third entries. Again, almost 4 times as many. But the chance creation is what is disappointing. You can have all the possession. You can have all the control. And to be critical of Arteta, he sort of come out saying that he received messages on his phone from CEOs and managers and coaches about how he dominated City. Look, domination, to an extent, we did. We've got the ball and you've not let the opposition do anything. But when you've got your opposition under such control and they're on the ropes, you've got to go for the kill. And sometimes we just don't lay a finger, let alone a glove. So for me, my one takeaway, and, chaps, ladies, we have to understand this is a team that's been cobbled together. A number of new signings, 9 changes from Sunday. It's not going to you don't just turn on a switch and they just play, invincible 0 football. But I do expect more than 0.9 next year against a team that is bottom of League One, 4 defeats in their last 5. It's a big worry. Adrian, welcome to the show, says, it's a big worry, FK. Our attacking fluidity, great word, is so poor. Title number 14 says, I'm typing to keep the chat going. Thank you, my man. The more people that watch, the more people that chat, and the more people that stay tuned, the more visibility Latte Firm gets on YouTube. There are more than 300 of you watching live right now. Please do subscribe to the content if you're enjoying it. Check out all the other videos on the feed, and just get involved in the chat. It's a really, really big help. That's the way we work this YouTube algorithm. Indoor Hat says, I'm worried that we only have second gear. Yeah, look, we haven't seen Arsenal peak yet. Nowhere near. We've got so many new signings. If you think about the team on Sunday, you've got Zubmendi in midfield. You've got Gyökeres up top. You've got Madueke on the right. You've got, Calafiori, who's barely played a season's worth of football. Like, there's so many new combinations and players where they need to sort of get to know each other in terms of familiarity and automatisms and movement off the ball, on the ball. Like, this will come. I'm absolutely convinced. BX Gunner isn't, though. He says the manager is limiting our ability. Alex says, FK, not to get too dramatic, but I'm worried that the noise and toxicity around Arsenal could make us crumble. The fan base is just so on edge. Alex, my friend, I've been supporting Arsenal for a long time, and I would say that our fan base has been on edge ever since I can remember. We have to hold our nerve. We have to keep our mettle here, ladies and gents, boys and girls. There's going to be a lot of noise. Arsenal are the easiest club to hate, the easiest club to just pile on. And unfortunately, they get a reaction from us. Like, just use your minds, call out what you see. I'm not asking you to be completely convinced of everything that we do, but the way that we are controlling and dominant in terms of possession and what we, limit our opposition teams to do is really encouraging. We've conceded, obviously, a goal against Manchester City on the counter-attack, and the other was an extraordinary free kick at Anfield, but that's it. We're limiting teams to not many chances. The chance creation will come. We have to become more fluid, speedy transition. That's an important point as well from Anajit. Jason W says, yes, because it's so easy to be fluid in attack against a back 5 and a low block. And that's another point. Like, the players are not familiar with themselves yet. And of course, when teams like Port Vale are just going to sit back and we pin them back because we try and suffocate our opposition, there's not much room. When you've got a low block, you've either got to go through them, around them, over them, but there's nowhere to go. There's no space. So you've got to make the most of your intricate passing and your movement. And unfortunately, it's just not quite there yet. We are playing board football, says Ali Noor. Ragamuffin, don't forget to don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, let's focus more on that. We talked about Trossard's goal earlier. Saliba, fantastic pass to Trossard, who takes the ball down, lovely touch, and drives it in from outside the box. That was our second, but our first is a really important point. Eberechi is off the mark, and you could see in his post-match interview, for those of you that have watched it, really meant a lot to him. He said it's been a long time coming. He's been working really hard for this moment, and even though it's a League Cup, I'm sure he's going to go home and take this as a really serious moment in his career, and just an emotional moment, because he was released from the academy. He's come back and he's had that greeting, the announcement, the sort of reveal at the Emirates Stadium, and now he's finally playing for us, and he's got his first goal. And what a goal it was! It looked like, I thought, a Martinelli assist. I kind of hoped it was a Martinelli assist, but I think Miles Lewis-Skelly got some sort of a touch, some sort of a flick. Let me know what you think. Was it a Miles Lewis-Skelly assist? Is it a Gabby Martinelli assist? I'm not sure. Santino, welcome to the show. Good name, and a name that I don't recognize. Gyökeres is not good enough. Kai is better. Look, I don't want to go into the who's better, Kai or Gyök. You're entitled to your opinions. I think there is a need for both players, and I recognize that they're both very different players. They're both going to offer Arsenal very different things. It's really annoying, really jarring that Kai Havertz wasn't available and fit for Manchester City, nor was he available for Anfield, because I think those two games would have been perfect for him. And I'm not just saying that now. You know, those of you that know me personally, those of you that have watched this channel for a long time will know that Kai Havertz is a big game player. He is Mikel's go-to man. I think Viktor Gyökeres is going to have a much bigger impact against slightly inferior teams where he can stat pad and just score goals. And that's what we need. We need someone who in addition to Kai, can get 15, 20 goals in the league, because that's all the difference, I think. Donald says Madueke is out for 8 weeks, I've heard. Came from James B on his Gooniverse channel. Yeah, David Ornstein said as much yesterday, 6 to 8 weeks. Sammy Mockbell said yesterday, had that on the Daily Grind show. Santini says Kai is really underrated in our fan base. That is the truth. Eze is not a winger. Yeah, Jamie Redknapp saying that if you ask Eze, he'd probably want to play more centrally. There's lots of people out there, lots of tacticos on Twitter that will say Eze is much better effective on the left-hand side, sort of out to in. Look, I don't know. I'm what I see, I like. He's obviously not settled. He doesn't yet. He doesn't really know all of his teammates inside out yet. I think it will come. You know, it's 5 minutes into his Arsenal career. Let's not dismiss one thing or another. Jason says we've lost one game this season, conceded twice, and we won today. People need to calm down. Santino says creativity is key to our success. Santino, man, I like your comments. Welcome to the Latte Firm. Subscribe, stick around. I like it. Whole Milk, welcome to the show. Love the username, as always. Creativity is hard to coach, but overcoaching can stifle creativity massively. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Arteta is actually needing to coach too much. I just think we've had, 8 new signings, 9 changes in the team today. We've played 5 games in the Premier League. Like, you need to give it at least, 6-10 games where all your new signings are playing and bedding in. System becomes familiar, training becomes familiar, tactics become familiar, environment becomes familiar. And then I think you're going to see a much, much better team. For me, performance is not important at this stage of the season. Just get the points on the board, get through all the cups, go as hard as you can in the Champions League. As you approach Christmas, you start taking much more notice of the team, the performance, and the kind of, injury situation. And you've got to be strong and in the mix until sort of February, March. And then you just got to go hard. V Vlad says 20 minutes in and FK has not mentioned the word Carabobbins once. Don't recognize the Latte Folk. Well, Wayne, he's not even around. The Carabobbins Cup. Wayne's not around tonight. Don't even know if he went to the game. I don't think he did. Greetings to Mohammed. Hi, FK. Big up, my friend. Pray for Gaza. Pray for Palestine at this difficult time. Come on, you Gunners. Always look out for you, Mohammed. Always wish you and your family well. Evening to Dan, another Patreon member and channel member, says, good evening, FK. Welcome to you, my friend. Let's focus on the draw. So that's the game. I mean, it's not really much to sort of analyze tonight. You're going to get lots of other channels that are going to go into, how we broke down a stubborn Port Vale block and, movements and this, that, and the other, overloads and whatnot. I don't think it's worth analyzing. Today was Port Vale. It's not really that big a fixture, nor is it that big a test. It was about getting the win, going through. It was about giving minutes to players who need them, and it was about squad management. That's it. This is the draw, courtesy of Sky Sports. As you can see, we were first drawn out of the hat. Ball number 15, I think we were. Arsenal at home to Brighton, which is a decent draw. It would have been lovely to have gone away to Grimsby or to have gone away to Swansea, like Manchester City have managed to do, or even Wrexham and Cardiff. I mean, that would have been a real spectacle. But we're at home, and we're at home to Brighton, and we take it and we move. And I think that's a game, even though Brighton were really impressive yesterday, a new signing scoring 4 goals. 3 of them were absolutely outstanding. They will pose a threat. The manager is not very likable, in my opinion. And there's a little bit of spice between the two teams. So that'd be a really enjoyable fixture. I'll try and get some tickets for Patreon members. Grimsby at home to Brentford, the story of the Cup this season. Grimsby doing really well. City, who won 2-0 tonight away from home at Huddersfield. They are away to Swansea. This is a big game. Newcastle versus Spurs. I hope they absolutely destroy each other. Just go hard at each other. Yeah, that's what we want. We want, plenty of red cards and plenty of goals and plenty of entertainment for the neutral. Wrexham will play Cardiff in the Welsh Classico. Liverpool, annoyingly, at home to Crystal Palace, of course, FA Cup holders. Glasner will be going there to prove a point. Mark Gahey sort of derby right there. Will he play? I don't know. Who knows? Wolves at home to Chelsea and Wickham at home to Fulham. Let me know, guys, what you think of the draw. Good News asks a question. FK, do you reckon Arteta still starts Mourinho against Newcastle? Yes. It's not what I would do, but I think Mikel Arteta will play Mikel Mourinho on Sunday because Arteta, basically. Butterflies are souls. What a lovely, lovely username. Says, no disrespect, but it's Port Vale. Calm down. I'm hoping you don't mean that to me, my man. I'm quite calm tonight, I feel. I'm actually knackered. I woke up at like 5 o'clock, went to Birmingham, worked there the whole day, and then came back just in time for kickoff, watched the game, jumped onto here to do some slides. I'm exhausted. I'm looking forward to going to bed. Louis says, can we pretend we played Fulham today? We can pretend and think we played whoever you like, my friend. Ryan Lee says, based on today's game, it's becoming clear that Eze competing with Rice and not Ødegaard. Look, Martin Ødegaard is a club captain. He does need competition, and it looks like Ethan Nwaneri is the sort of understudy. But I don't think there's any conclusions on Eze's position yet or Eze's role. So let's just wait and see what the gaffer's going to do. Saliba's pass was superb, says Nana. But why didn't them realize it earlier and utilize it? In the first half, there were chunks of space behind their defense. It was a lovely, lovely pass. And the touch from Trossard, the way he cushioned it down, fantastic. Lovely touch and drove it home to make it 2-0. And that's just what we needed at that time. It was just becoming, a straightforward game, but, a throw, a corner, a free kick, a deflected sort of clearance, and then all of a sudden you're in a bit of trouble. So it was a really, really good goal at a really good time for us. City travel to Wales. Let's watch Bernardo Silva cry. Mate, what he did when Trossard threw the ball at him was absolutely disgraceful. He ought to be ashamed of himself. It's terrible. All right, on the draw. Adrian says, tough game. Tough game, FK. So tough he said it twice. Brighton looks strong this year, says Dylan. Will be tough, but at least we are at home. Donald says Brighton might rest key players against us when we play them. I mean, look, we might have to rest players, but we have a stacked squad. I'm expecting us to play a strong team, and hopefully we'll get the win. Gaming since 2010 says Brighton rotate in the cup a bit. Yeah, but Hertzler hates us. Exactly, Louis. Exactly. Welcome to Dan Fry. Hope you've enjoyed the football tonight. Hope you've enjoyed the show as well. 433 says decent draw. Let's fucking go, guys. That's the atmosphere that we want. That's the spirit that we want in the community. I love it. The beauty of the pencil. Wow, these names are getting more and more creative. Good evening, Latte Firm. First time on the chat. I have I have a bit of sympathy for Gyökeres, as it appears that our playing style is unfavorable for him. First of all, let me commend you for your English, my friend. I love your username, and please don't let that be the last time that you join the chat. John says Newcastle are the most physical midfield. Mourinho is unfortunately going to start. Yeah, I think Mourinho is going to play in the big games, much to Ragamuffins' disappointment there. Alex says FK battling through exhaustion. You love to see it best in the game. Yeah, well, thank you. That's very kind of you. There are so many awesome content creators out there. You guys are lucky. We are all a lucky community. The Canon Podcast, Askcast, the Guna Talk TV, Harry Simu, Chronicles of Guna. Got to get that in. Arsenal Vision. I mean, they are absolutely sensational. Just drink it all in. It's going to be a good season for us. Mourinho is back up for Ødegaard, says Toby. Welcome to the show. Make it make sense. I don't think he is, so I can't make it make sense. Jack Priest, my first match reaction of the season. Good to be back. Welcome, my friend. Where have you been? Hopefully you enjoy the show. And if you are enjoying the show and you're watching for the first time, please do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. There are just shy of 400 of you now watching live on YouTube. Brighton have one win, says Jabs. Do they really? Interesting. And they did knock us out of the cup in 22-23. There is revenge to be had there. 433 looking ahead to Newcastle says Arteta is not going to play Eze or Wanyeri against Newcastle because they are not strong off the ball. I think Eberechi Eze is deceptively strong. Yes, he's not a 6 foot plus giant, but he's only been here 5 minutes, and I think he knows how to handle himself. Ethan Wanyeri's a young boy. He has a lot of power in him. You can see that he's bulked up a little bit, but of course the inexperience and the wisdom that the likes of Bruno Guimaraes and Joel Linton and so many others in that Newcastle team will have, it will be potentially a challenge too big for Ethan. But we shall see. We shall see. Yeah, this is how I feel gaming since 2010. I have a good feeling that Ødegaard starts against Newcastle, so the Mourinho issue doesn't come up. Yeah, Mikel Arteta seemed positive about Ødegaard. And is Ødegaard in training? Have any of you guys seen pictures of the skip? I'm sure I've seen one or two things on socials, but you never know when it's like old pictures or new pictures. Donald says Eze is still a beast, and Ben White is looking really rusty. He is, but let's not get too upset about it. You know, the fact that he's in the team and getting minutes and playing for Arsenal is a really, really positive thing. He got more than an hour today, and that's important for Ben White. And, you know, he's come back from a couple of minor sort of knocks, and we just need to get him motoring. I sort of said in the match reaction video after the City game that, you know, Jurriën Timber was tiring, as you'd expect, because he's been unbelievable for a good solid 2 years now. And I just felt that Ben White's sort of guile and finesse in that final third in the last sort of 20, 30 minutes against City might have made a big difference. But look, he's got 70 minutes under his belt today. Let's just get him fit. Let's give Timber some rest time, because Timber is going to, you know, he's going to burn out at some point. We've got to manage his load. Load is the new word, isn't it? Everyone keeps using it. Fourth Trafee just come back and said Ødegaard is in training. Eric, welcome to the show, says Eze keeps producing goals and assists. He and Leo will start against Newcastle. Yeah, Leo Trossard. Look, I was quite critical of Leo on Sunday, rightly so, because of what I saw and how I feel. Tonight, coming off the bench and delivering the goods. This is a classic season for Leo Trossard off the bench. He knows his role. We know his role. Arteta's got to know his role. Just sit on the bench and just come on and make differences in games. That is your role, my friend. And just do it for us. You will take us to the title. I'm sure of it. Nick says, evening. Arteta really have a great deal of plug and play. Let's play Arsenal. Yeah, we've got to play. We've got performance will improve, but I'm really pleased tonight. 9 changes to the team. Minutes and legs that are really important. Logical Nonsense says Timber getting a rest is really important, particularly ahead of Sunday. Sunday's a massive game. You know, we've got, what have we got? 10 points out of 15 from our first 5. Old Trafford, etched off. Anfield, etched off, although unsuccessfully, and a fixture against Manchester City. If we can come away from St James's with 3 points and we get 13 out of 18 and we can just etch off St James's Park as another visit, that's not a bad start to the season. Irrespective of what Liverpool are doing, believe me, they will have their moments, they will have their games where, you know, certain fixtures are just, you know, they're sort of nemesis fixtures and fixtures where they might not perform. For us, we just got to focus on ourselves. In fact, just don't care about anybody else. Focus on ourselves, get whatever points we can, get key players back. We've lost a player in each of our 5 Premier League fixtures so far to injury. We got to stop that. And I think we'll be fine. So, yeah, very, very happy, very pleased. 433 says Leo is a finisher all day, all night. Ragamuffin says Trossard, the super sub. Dave agreeing, saying he's a different beast off the bench. And Ferranmi, again, another name. Fantastic. Great to see you. Mosquera is now one of our solid backs right now. Solid centre backs, solid right backs. Absolutely. What a player. There's plenty of Christian Mosquera content on the timeline. We are going to leave it there, my friends, because it is the League Cup, but we are through to the 4th round. That is what is most important. We've talked about lineup. We've talked about individual performances. We've talked about the goals. And we've just talked about all things Arsenal, really. So we will be back tomorrow with some sort of a feature. Maybe I'll bring on a journalist just to kind of get some professional insight. And then Friday will be the late night lounge. And then, of course, we're on to the weekend where we'll have a Newcastle match preview. We'll have a match reaction video on Sunday. If you are tuning in for the first time, do obviously subscribe. These are available as audio shows on Apple and Spotify, normally in the early hours of the following morning. If you want them ad-free, get over to Patreon, support the channel. You'll have access to tickets like Aidan and Matthew had tonight. They have gone tonight. And also Patreon members. I will take 1 or 2 of you to Live from N5. The Arsenal show, the Arsenal box this season. So if you want to support us, do that. And the support means the world to me. I've been approached by so many betting companies, and they are so tempting to work with, but I refuse to work with them because they do some terrible things to some very vulnerable people. So any support, whether it's super chats, whether it's Patreon, whether it's you just watching and chatting, I really appreciate it. You know, from the bottom of my heart, the fact that you guys are just tuning in on a Wednesday night, 11 o'clock, listening to this dosser just talk nonsense, I'm immensely grateful. 433 says, good article on The Athletic, re the boardroom changes. By the way, yeah, do check that out. It's a really great article. Cheers to all of you. Really appreciate the kind words. Thank you. Good night, one and all. Look after yourselves. Enjoy the evening. Watch the highlights and take in all of the content. Look after yourselves, and we'll be back tomorrow. So until then, bye for now.